templates are amazing. I think that is such a great tip. And the more you can start to think about the stuff that you're doing over and over again is great. So we've deleted the information we're not going to work on. We've deferred the information that we don't need to work on right now. We've made the stuff on our list as easy as possible. And now we need to ask ourselves, do we really need to be the ones to do it? And I think here, again, a lot of people are hesitant to delegate. So one is nobody's as good at doing it as I am, which may be the case, but also one, maybe it doesn't matter that it's as good because if you can get it off your plate, but also by giving it to somebody else who has more dedicated time to do it, when I'm kind of doing it in my side over here, they actually can probably do a better job and take it on and really make this something that is given full dedication. And so it can be a great use of other people's time. Another issue people have is that it'll take me longer to teach somebody than it'll take me to do it myself. And while sometimes this is true, and there is an investment to get other people up to speed on things, the investment really pays off. And you'll find that for the littlest tasks that you can hand off to somebody, there's invariably like 12 questions that come back about that task. And another task that comes in that's almost like that task. And if you had handed off that first one, then you can start to get other people trained to do that and to take that burden off. The other issue is I don't have anybody to delegate to. And again, this could be the case, but when you look at professionally, what your team is supposed to be working on, what you're supposed to be working on, sometimes other people have downtime. And so there's ways that you can delegate. Sometimes there are people on other teams who have downtime when you're slammed. And so if you start to think about those things that you can hand off, and again, we're going to practice our managing up, where we're going to talk to our managers about like, where is the best use of my time? Maybe there are some of those things that you can hand off, and maybe your team is really at the point where it does make sense to bring somebody in and your manager is going to agree to that. So sometimes people are also afraid to give things away. They feel like if I stop doing this, it's going to lose some of the importance of my job. And so as we're doing this, we're thinking about what's important for me to do, certainly, but we're also not thinking of redundancy as a bad word. So I don't know how many times I've had people who have not been able to take a sick day. I mean, they've been home sick, but they've had to work because there was literally nobody else who could do what they were doing. People who work on vacations. Vacations are so important. So even if you're not able to totally hand off work, make sure that there are other people who know how to do this so that you're doing it and continue to think about where it makes sense to hand those things off. Okay, so some of the things that you've got to delegate professionally, again, we've got projects, we've got parts of projects. In your personal life, sometimes your personal life is just busy. And so it may make sense for you to delegate things like house cleaning, food delivery, takeout. I'm having my groceries delivered later because I did not have a chance to go to the store today. In your social life, maybe you're the one who's always coordinating plans and picking out the next restaurant. And sometimes you like that, but sometimes you're busy and people still kind of assume that you're the one that's going to do it. And so those are ways that you can really think about, okay, what are some of the things that I can do? And for the question about everyone being as insanely overworked as you are, that is a reality. And I totally hear you on that. And so I think this is one of the areas where it's important to really have that open conversation with your team and with your manager about where the team's time should be spent and where it shouldn't be spent. I know none of us like to say no. It's like that we just have to do all this work. We have to. But there would come a point when the amount of work that comes in would be too much for you to take. And you would say no. And so what if we just start looking at those set points a little bit earlier and start thinking about ways that we can make our team work level more manageable? Because new stuff's going to keep coming in. And we also need to allow for those new things that are urgent that we'll have to do to come in and also to be trade-offs. And so it is one of the most challenging pieces. And so I would encourage you as much as possible to have really an open dialogue and really start thinking about troubleshooting as a team to start figuring out, really where it's possible to hand off some of those pieces. Or again, go back to our delete and defer.